Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are going to continue on with our listening. We're going to move on to task 3. Okay, so just a reminder, we already did task 1 and task 2. Today, we're going to do task 3. Now, task 3 is a conversation amongst different people in an educational setting. Okay, so, in order to listen to the recording along with me, you'll be able to see where I am at with this recording as I'm going along. Okay, but make sure you click on this link. This link is also, if you're watching the YouTube video of this link is first link in the description as well. Go to this website, courtesy of IELTS.org. Which is where we are getting these examples from. They are providing them for us, which is wonderful. You can click on the link there and go to go listen to the audio for yourself. Okay, all right, so let's move on to just taking a look at what kind of questions we're going to have to answer before we even get into listening. Okay, here it says choose 5 answers from the box and write the correct letters A to I in next to the questions 11 to 15. Right, so clearly here there's looks like 9 answers. There's only 5 spots, so most of these are not going to be used. And looks like this is a map of the town library. So this time we have to fill in the map according to what is said. Okay, and I'm going to pause it relatively often to talk about what we just heard and reveal what the answers are throughout this. Okay, so it's very, very key that we listen carefully for the correct, and we listen carefully for the correct instructions from the librarian. Okay, so she's going to be talking to a group of people, it sounds like, and we're going to have to fill in the map for the library. Okay, and this is a bit different than the questions we had last time, right? Last time we had one where we had to just kind of fill in some blanks using 3 words or less. The time before that, we just kind of had to, fill in a chart. This time we're having to fill in, or I guess a form rather, for task 1. This time for this one, we're going to have to fill in this map. So this is a bit different. This would be considered a matching exercise because we have to match the word, the key to the correct parts of the library. Okay, so let's start listening. So make sure that you head onto this website so you can hear the recording as I'm hearing it, and you can see where I'm at in the recording over here at any given time. Okay. Right there. Okay, there we go. There's our first one. So they said that the desk is to the right and that the opposite of the desk is the place where there's the reference books. Okay, so very key word, opposite. What a lot of people would do is say, oh, the one that's closest to the librarian's desk is this room right here. So this is where the reference books are. But no, she specifically said the key word opposite, right? Opposite of her desk is the place for the reference books. And she also said it's a place where people can study quietly and peacefully. However, I don't see anything about peaceful studying here, in the answer. So I'm going to ignore that part. I'm going to say 11 goes with H, right? So write that down for your answer. 11H. That's where the reference books are. Okay, let's move on. There we go. Okay, so the room a little bit further, just past the librarian's desk, that's the room with the 12, is the room with the periodicals. So 12 would go with G, And then she gave some examples of periodicals like newspapers and magazines, but it doesn't actually say that anywhere here. So we can just put G for periodicals. Okay. And that's partly why they have this bank of words as well. Sometimes people might be unsure how detailed to go in for their answers, but as long as you choose the answer that makes sense given you know, given what you have, right? The answers that you have to work with, you're good. That's the key thing here. Okay, let's move on. So again, there's nothing here that says photocopier, so we can skip that part. We can ignore that, even though it was said as well. Yeah. Local history books. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything here that says local history books? Well, D says local history collection, which is pretty similar to local history books. So I am going to say D is 13. Awesome. Right? So notice how she said library area. We saw that. Then we looked to our left. Okay, fiction. We looked to our right. Nonfiction. Then she said far wall. So this wall here, the wall that's farther from the entrance, is the far wall. And also, it's the only wall that we we don't have labeled already, and we need labeled. Is the other key here is the local history books. So there we go. 13 is D. Okay, moving on. So it says they're hoping to add it later in the year, but as of right now, it's not there. So this is trying to trick you and perhaps make you rethink that of, oh, wait, is it D or is it I for tourist information? But make no mistake, it's just D because this is something that the librarian hopes to add later, but it is not something that's there now. The other thing is, too, it says choose 5 answers from the box, right? And so we can't choose both D and I for 13 anyway. We're meant to only choose one answer for each. So we just stick with D. Okay, because again, we only need to choose one. And also, the tourist information is something they hope to add later. It's not something that's there now. This room. There we go. Children's library is next door to the seminar room, so that's 14. Let's see, is there anything that says children's library or anything similar? Well, yes, there is B for children's books, which is very similar to children's library, has the same meaning. So there we go. 14 is B, children's books. There we go. Multimedia collection. Do we see anything like that here? Yes. Yes, I see F multimedia. So I would put F for 15. So again, they're trying to trick you. They said it was originally the art collection. Well, again, we don't care what it used to be or might be in the future. We care what it is now. And right now, it is the multimedia room. So we stick with our answer F. We don't change it to art collection because they're saying that it used to be the art collection, but today it's the multimedia, right? So we stick with F as our answer. Oops, sorry. Okay. Okay, so there we go. There we go. We had well, not really even a conversation. I wouldn't have called it personally. a conversation because only one person spoke that whole time. Was mainly the librarian until at the end when she took a question. But there we go. So there were a couple times where they kind of tried to trick us. So keep that in mind, right? Here for the far wall, they mentioned two different things. They mentioned, I think it was local history and tourist information, but they mentioned that tourist information they plan to have in the future. They don't have it now. So we just answered D for 14 or for 13, sorry. And then same with for 15, right? They said that right now it's the multimedia room, so it's F, but it used to be the art collection, but now that's been moved to a different building, right? So again, it might be tempting to say A for 15 because they mentioned the art collection, but what they mention about it is that it used to be the art collection, but now it isn't. That's in another building now. So that's a no, right? And so it's very important to listen really carefully, not just for these key words, right? These key words that we're hearing, but also for what they are saying about these key words, right? What tenses are they using? And what exactly are they saying about them? So, as much as for this one, we do still want our ears to perk up when we're hearing key words and we're hearing, oh, they're about to tell us about this room. Oh, they're about to tell us about this room. We also still want to understand what they're saying, right? And not just hear, oh, that's a word I recognize. Okay, so that's our answer. Especially too, because the incorrect answers were said after the correct answers, right? Making us second guess ourselves perhaps, but if we understand what they're saying, then we're not going to be so confused about it, right? So that's just it. That's another key thing I wanted to point out. The other thing that makes this task 3 a little bit harder than task 2 is that with this one, sometimes the exact wording that the librarian used was slightly different, right? So, for example, they said children's library, right? The answer here is children's books. That's the answer they're meaning for us to give, right? Because what's a children's library? Well, what's a library? A library is a place to get books, right? So, the children's book section is the same thing as children's library, right? They're both the same, okay? Or same with what was another example? I'm trying to think of another example. I think they might have said, I forget now if they said local history books or local history collection. I think they said local history, or they might have just said local history. Well, we need to kind of infer and imply and recognize that local history collection, that's the same as local history books. That's the same as a local history section in the library, right? There's lots of ways to kind of say the same thing, right? And so if there's words with similar meanings, synonyms, then we can take that and we can be good to go with that. Okay? So there we go. So that is everything. That is everything for today. Good work today, everyone. And next day we'll do an example with task 4. For task 4, we're going to hear one person speaking about a specific academic subject like a lecture. So good work today, and I will see everyone then. Bye, everyone.